Hello everyone. Today, we'll be seeing how fast Seviper can beat Pokemon Omega Ruby in a solo run challenge. Let's get straight into the video. For this week, we will be playing Pokemon Omega Ruby. We'll be playing Seviper today, and then later in the week, we'll be doing Mightyena. Plus, tomorrow and Tuesday, we'll be doing Pokemon Omega Ruby live with a random Pokemon. Anyway, let's talk about Seviper here. We have 73 HP, 100 attack, 60 defense, 100 special attack, 60 special defense, and 65 speed. We are in the fluctuating growth rate, which is not a great growth rate. This growth rate needs the most amount of experience to get to level 100. It's around 1.6 million, while the slow group needs 1.25 million. And how fluctuating works, in the early game, we're going to level up extremely quickly, and then by the time we get into the 40s, we're going to be slower than the slow group, and it's going to be a big pain in the butt to level up. But hopefully our moveset can make up for it. We start off with Wrap and Swagger and Bite, and then at level 7 we get Lick, and then at level 10 we get our first same type attack bonus move, Poison Tail. It's just a 50 power poison move, nothing really too special. And then we also get Screech, Venoshock, Glare, Poison Fang, Venom Drench, Night Slash, Gastro Acid, Poison Jab, Haze, Crunch, Belch, Coil, and Ring Out. Definitely a lot of moves that you don't often see people use. If I end up using any of these weird moves in the run, I will describe what they do, but I don't want to spend too much time doing that. We need to look at the TM set. This thing definitely gets some very odd coverage. We get a lot of the standard poison type moves like Venoshock, Sludge Wave, and Sludge Bomb. We get Flamethrower for some reason, but not Fire Blast. We get Earthquake, Dig, and Bulldoze. We also get bug coverage in X-Scissor and Infestation. Plus we can get Dragon Tail if we want dragon coverage. But the problem is Dragon Tail has negative priority, so we'll probably never use it. I don't even know where the TM is for it in this game, so I can definitely tell you we're not going to need it, that's for sure. Also, if you're taking a look at my overlay, I have actually completely overhauled my overlay for all my games. You may have noticed this during the live streams, but this is the first video I recorded with this new change. Basically, I just have everything look a lot better. The gameplay is now in a good aspect ratio, there's not much empty black borders. I can see a blackout and a reset counter in the top left, and the little rectangle above it will be where the badges go. Plus, you can see the level up in the TM moves on the left and right hand side, in addition to the real time. And as also, you can see our nature is naughty, which is plus attack minus special defense. I think we're going to be relying more on physical moves than special moves, but we are a balanced attacker, so we will end up using a mixture of both. And our ability is Hyper Cutter. It prevents our attack stat from ever being lowered by the opponent, so things like Intimidate and Growl and Baby Doll Eyes will not work. It's basically like a worse version of Clear Body, but hey, no attack drops, I'll definitely take it. Also, you may notice the gameplay is going really fast. I also ended up going to 4 times speed for all my playthroughs from now on, just to make them go faster in general, just cause 3 times speed with some games is just unbearably slow. I have no idea how I've been doing it all these years. But anyway, it does look a lot faster, so it's going to be hard to definitely see what I'm doing on screen. Like the first thing I've noticed, people have pointed this out during the streams, it's actually very hard to know what my moveset is because my automatic updating overlay does not work for this game, and the game goes so quickly it's hard to read the text. I will edit this overlay before the streams tomorrow, where I'm going to move the nature and ability to the right hand side of the bottom section, and then in the left side of this bottom area, I'm going to actually insert the bottom screen, so at least you can get a quick glance at what my moveset is. But I will have that for the next stream. Anyway, the early game pretty much plays like most Pokemon. And because of the fluctuating growth rate, I'm actually level 9 after beating all the trainers on Route 102 before Petalburg City, which is a very high level, but this is how the fluctuating growth rate works. It's going to look great right now, but once I get to a higher level, things are going to go really bad really quick. I make my way through the Petalburg Woods and into Rustboro City. I get the HM for Cut and the Quick Claw. Our speed is not that great, so holding onto the Quick Claw will definitely come in handy. And while I'm here, I will go ahead and fight the first gym leader, Roxanne. Roxanne leads off with a Geodude. I'm level 14 for this fight. I start off by using Bite to 3-shot it, plus I am holding an Oranberry for this fight, just in case my health gets a little bit too low. The Nose Pass is going to keep hitting me with Rock Tomb, but fortunately it decides to just start using other moves instead. I get to level 15 after I knock it out, and now the Stone Badge is mine. Next up, we're going to have to fight the second gym leader, Brawly. Unlike the original Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, you actually cannot skip Brawly. That will end up being a concern for some Pokemon, like this thing's counterpart Zangoose, but Seviper doesn't really need to worry about him too much. I rescue the Wingull from Team Magma, and then I'm able to take the boat to Dewford Town, and then I can enter the gym. I can't go into the cave until I beat Brawly and meet Steven. This is how they prevented you from skipping Brawly. You have to beat him in order to meet Steven. Also, I want to mention this guy, Black Belt Hakiti. I hope I said that correctly. This trainer is actually bugged, and he has an absorbent high amount of IVs in every one of his stats. So this Machop is actually very, very powerful this early in the game. Usually Pokemon with like 20s and IVs, you don't see those until later. Like you can see the fact that I have to 3-hit the Machop, but then on the next trainer I 2-hit the Machop. That is definitely a huge amount of IV differences. But anyway, let's go ahead and take on Brawly. He starts off with his Machop. Turn 1, I go for my most powerful move, Poison Tail, which does almost full damage, but he wastes his 1 turn with a Bulk Up, and because of the Bulk Up, Poison Tail is now doing less than half. But fortunately, Poison resists fighting, so Karate Chop only did like 10 damage or so, despite a crit. Next up, he sends out the Makuhita. Before I start sweeping with Poison Tail, I do use 1 Screech, which I did learn by level up at level 13, and once I use the Screech, his Makuhita becomes a lot easier to knock out with Poison Tail. So now, we have the Knuckle Badge. I have a nice productive meeting with Steven Stone, and then I can take the boat to Route 109 south of Slateport. I fight a bunch of the local trainers as well as clear out the Soda House. The fluctuating growth rate will eventually make us level up very slowly, so I may as well get all of the easy early levels while I can. And then, once I finish all that, I head north to Route 110 and clear out the Trick House. I actually did have the opportunity in a trainer battle to learn Poison Fang. But here's the thing, Poison Tail and Poison Fang both have 50 power and 100 accuracy, but Poison Fang actually has less power points compared to Poison Tail, so I actually keep Poison Tail for this part. But like I've mentioned, next time I do these Omega Ruby streams and videos, the bottom screen will be on the overlay, so you will be able to see the moves a lot better. In fact, I don't even know what my moveset is. I have to wait till I get to the levels, slow the footage down, and see if I learn it. So it's definitely an issue on my end too. But anyway, once I clear out the Trick House, I get the TM for Taunt, which may come in handy, we'll see. And I also get the Expert Belt. This will boost the power of super effective moves by 20. And this will come in handy for Wattson. Now here's the funny thing, in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, the TM for Dig is locked until after you beat Wattson. And while that is true in this game, in the Pokemon Mart inside Mauville, you can actually buy some TMs. One of those is Power Up Punch, which unfortunately this thing cannot learn, but they also sell the TM for Bulldoze. This will be my answer to deal with him, so at least I won't have to teach Rock Smash or anything like that. Once I enter Mauville City, I go ahead and get the Acro Bike, and then in the Mart, I need to sell a couple of things because I'm a little bit short on money. And once I get $10,000, I can go ahead and buy the TM for Bulldoze. Which is what I would have done, but I was actually a lot lower on money than I thought. So first, before I end up buying it, I have to defeat Wally, and then head west and try to fight a lot more trainers just to get the money that I need. Also, here is something I just realized while fighting these trainers. Did you notice my nature and ability changed? If you're wondering, wait a minute, Seviper doesn't get Hyper Cutter? Yeah, it doesn't. I actually realized I forgot to edit this from the previous Pokemon I played in this game. So in the start of the video, I may have misled some of you, and some of you may have already left a comment. Oops. Anyway, our actual nature is Jolly, which is plus speed minus special attack, just because we need all the speed we can get. And our ability is Shed Skin. Whenever we get a status condition, we have like a 30% chance or so of getting rid of that status, and that does include rest. You know what's funny? We could use rest and wake up with Shed Skin. No need for Resto Chesto. But yeah, sorry I misled some of you in the early part of the game. I recorded this run a while ago and forgot I even did this. Sorry about that. And also, while fighting one of the Pokemon breeders on the route just east of Verdendorf Town, I really cannot remember these numbers in Hoenn for the life of me. I end up getting a blackout, so I end up having everybody faint, and then I have to warp all the way back to Slateport to run up to Mauville. This is going to be my first blackout. However, the blackout and reset counter are manual, so I am going to need to remember to give myself a blackout later. I hope I remember to do that. Anyway, let's go finally take on the third gym leader, Wattson. Wattson leads off with his Magnemite. I start off right away by using a Bulldoze, and it does leave it in red health, but funnily enough, this actually doesn't matter. His Magnemite has Sturdy, which it does activate on the next turn. Plus, here's the thing, every time I use Bulldoze, it's a guaranteed speed drop. Next up is the Voltorb. I outspeed it, and I one-shot it with Bulldoze. And even though the Magnemite has Sturdy, his Magneton does not. I think Wattson would be a lot harder in this game if it was his Magneton that had it. And then as soon as I beat the Magneton, I have the opportunity to learn Night Slash. This is going to be a useful move, so I'm going to teach this in the place of Swagger. If you're wondering how I got Swagger, I got this move at level 1. I just held on to it just in case it ever be useful. I really didn't find any use for it. I make the long, treacherous journey to Fall Arbor Town, buy some super repels in the mart, and then inside the Dig Maniac's house right here, or Ruin Maniac, sorry, I can go ahead and get myself the TM for Dig. I could teach this to Seviper if I wanted to, or I could just teach this to my Zigzagoon just as a free escape rope. I will most likely end up teaching it though, just because of the higher base power. But then again, Dig is a 2-turn move, so it's kind of like it's an effective 40 power per turn. Plus Bulldoze has the speed drop, which is a great benefit. Then I help the rival clear out the Magma Grunts in Meteor Falls, and then he gives me a free escort back to Mauville Town. So then I can go head to Mount Chimney right here, head up the cable car, and at the very top we can go take on the leader of Team Magma, Maxie. This fight is actually relatively difficult in this game because the Camerupt has very decent moves. But oh well, I can make this work. But I did prepare for this instance though. I go ahead and use Poison Tail into Mightyena, not dealing too much, and then he uses Swagger on me, raising my attack by 2 stages, so because of the Intimidate it's a +1, but I prepared for this. I had a Persimberry that I obtained on Route 114. So now with the Persimberry, I now have a +1, and then I can sweep his entire team. Yep, really easy. Now we can go head down the Jagged Pass and go take on the 4th gym leader, Flannery. Flannery leads off with her Slugma. I have had issues with Flannery in the past, but fortunately because of Bulldoze, I can one-shot the Slugma and the Numel. Next up is the Torkoal. It only does about half, and then the Torkoal uses Curse right away. And then on the next turn it uses Sunny Day and then a Hyper Potion. So now I'm doing less and less damage to it, but I do have Dig. So I'm going to try and use this for the higher power. And I do get hit with Overheat dealing massive damage, but this Torkoal for some reason just really loves using Curse. Must be from Gen 2. So then I am able to actually defeat the Torkoal and get myself the Heat Badge. So far, I haven't had any resets on any gym leaders. Plus here's the benefit of this game. As soon as I defeat Flannery, the rival takes me straight to Norman. So yeah, let's go take on Norman. Norman leads off with his first slacking. I'm only level 35 because of the fluctuating growth rate. But here's the funny thing, with Dig, you can actually completely cheese the Truant ability. But I do end up not using Dig on the next turn, and then he encores me into using Poison Jab, which is my most powerful move right now. So then I have to continue using it on the Vigoroth, and then eventually the Encore does wear off. But here's the cool thing, as soon as the next slacking comes out, I go ahead and use Dig in anticipation of him using Retaliate, but fortunately he decided to use Chip Away. And then once I figure his health gets low enough, I could switch on over to Poison Jab, which I do once he's in yellow health. Poison Jab knocks him out, and now we have obtained the Balance Badge. I think things are going to get easier from here, although I am still worried about Tate and Liza, but we'll cross that road when we get there. One thing I really like about this game is that the NPCs and rivals just teleport you places. Like for example here, Wally just straight up teleports me to Mauville City. Normally in the older games, I would just go there manually, picking up rare candies along the way. But in this game, I can just get the rare candies once I get the ability to fly, surf, and waterfall. So that way I can do a one giant rare candy gathering. I also get myself the free Latios here, and the Latios is actually used for surf, strength, waterfall, and dive. This thing is just a beast of an HM user. In fact, the only HM user I really need to catch is the Zigzagoon. Plus, here's the thing, the Latios can learn fly too, so I can teach Latios fly. And also, I was incorrect earlier when I said Latios learns strength. It doesn't. That's why we caught a Geodude. We get a Geodude north of Mauville City by smashing the rocks, because there's a decently high chance of getting an encounter there. And then, I can head my way up to the Weather Institute, clear out the Magma Grunts in quick fashion, and completely destroy Brendan. So now, we are in Fortree City. I go ahead and talk to this lady here, and get myself Hidden Power. You'll know what hidden power we have later on in the video, but go ahead and try to guess which one I went with. And also, if you're wondering if I could have just gotten hidden power in Slateport, you can't. Since TMs are renewable, you can't buy secret power or hidden power there because you're given secret power, so how you get the hidden power TM is just in Fortree City. Anyway, let's go take on Winona. Winona sends out her Swellow. I'm only level 39 for this fight. I am really not gaining experience that fast. I don't think I say this often enough, but the fluctuating growth rate is really bad. I use Hidden Power to one-shot the Swellow, so my Hidden Power typing is something that Flying is weak to. I deny the chance to learn Crunch, and next up is the Altaria. On the Altaria, I go ahead and use 2 Poison Jabs. And then next up is the Skarmory. I go ahead and use Hidden Power and it deals neutral damage. That doesn't really change the math here. Then on the Pelipper, I use Hidden Power for the one-shot. Okay, that clears it. We have Hidden Power Electric. This is mainly because Seviper needs an answer to the water types in this game, especially all the Gyarados. So that's the reason I went with it, because we get a lot of type coverage and Electric just isn't one of them. And now with the Feather Badge, I make my way to Lily Cove City, which honestly, fun fact, I did not need to do at all. Because here's the thing, as soon as Team Magma steals the submarine in Slateport, the boat guy will actually give you a ride to Lily Cove, so I actually did not need to do this. But since I'm here, I do take on the rival here. If I want to go into the department store, I have to fight him. That was the case in the originals, but in the remakes, they moved the fight to the bottom of the stairs, and the stairs are the only way to get to the Team Magma hideout. So this rival fight is actually mandatory. And in fact, this is where I get my very first reset, on the Blaziken. Fortunately, this doesn't happen on the second attempt. Then I can knock out the Blaziken and the Breloom, although it does hit me with Effect Spore. Oh well, I can just heal that off later. And now that I'm in Lily Cove in the department store, there's no substitute TM here. The substitute TM is actually on a Mirage Island that spawns randomly, so it's pretty much never going to happen. But the only reason I'm in Lily Cove though is to buy vitamins. And today's vitamin of the day is 3 protein and 2 carbos. Attack and speed are effectively my most important stats. Honestly, speed is more important than attack, but having both is definitely good. And with these vitamins obtained, I have to head all the way to Mount Pyre. There is a rare candy south of here, so I do get this first. And normally I would go into Mount Pyre right away and climb the summit, but first on Route 123, I actually start jumping down the ledges, which is something I almost never do because there is something I want to get. But first, on this one trainer with a Skarmory, I didn't know this person had a Skarmory, so I end up getting another Blackout. Oops. And then when I come back, I end up getting another Blackout. Dude, I need to stop fighting optional trainers here. This thing is brittle and frail. But anyway, the thing I am getting inside of this giant berry patch here, I am going to get the Cholbin berry. At least I think that's how you say it. It's the berry that makes super effective ground type moves take less damage. I'm going to use this in preparation of one of the Team Magma fights. But here's the funny thing, I actually forget to equip this, so I ended up just getting it for no reason. There was definitely a lot of time lost with this run. Also, it's not the Colbur berry, it's the Shoka berry. My bad. Now I can finally start climbing the summit to Mount Pyre, and then on this one Team Magma grunt with Mightyena and Golbat, I hit myself in confusion not once but twice, and because of that, I end up having to black out here. Oh my god, I need to start remembering to save in these runs. On the bright side though, Courtney doesn't give me any resets. If you've seen my Sableye and Mawile videos, the Courtney battles are very terrifying. Camerupt is a beast in this game. And now I have to fly to Slateport, watch him steal the submarine, and then this guy right here, the boat master, I don't remember what his name is, but this is just what I'm calling him. Oh wait, Captain Stern. Yeah, Captain Stern. Anyway, Captain Stern will actually sail you to Lily Cove, so I technically didn't have to do the vitamin buy that early, or the rival fight. I could have just let him take the boat to Lily Cove for me. And then once I get in there, I can go into the Magma hideout. And then check this out, at the very end when you have to fight Team Magma Grunts with 5 Poochyenas in a horde battle, I can just use Bulldoze to one-shot every single one of them. Yeah, that was very satisfying, watching them fall in a domino pattern. Quite awesome. And then at the very end there's another Courtney battle, but I outspeed the Camerupt and one-shot with Dig. It's a good thing that Earth Power, which these Camerupts have, cannot hit you underground for some reason. I really think they should, but I should be glad that they don't, because I'm able to one-shot without taking any damage. And now with the Team Magma hideout cleared out, before I head to Moss Deep City, I go into the Safari Zone, and in the very top left corner of the map, you need the Acrobike to get this. I can actually get a rare candy. And now with the candy obtained, I have surfed my way to Moss Deep City. However, I am not going to fight Tate and Liza yet. I'm actually going to fight a bunch of the trainers leading to Pacifidlog Town. The reason I want to get to Pacifidlog Town is because I want it on the map, and the reason I want it on the map is because in this game, I'm going to do the Delta episode because I end these runs when I fight Zinnia, and I do end up needing to fly here anyway to get to the Sky Pillar. So this is the reason I do this. Plus Tate and Liza, even though they have their Ruby and Sapphire team, they are still pretty hard, and they both have Levitates. They're going to be immune to my spread move Bulldoze. And unfortunately, this thing does not learn Surf. And while doing the training on the water, I get to level 46 and I get the move Coil. This is an awesome setup move. It raises my attack, defense, and accuracy by 1 stage. This is basically like bulk up just with a nice side effect. The plus accuracy boost really isn't going to matter because I don't really like teaching moves that are less than 100% accurate unless I have to. So the attack and defense boost is what I'm going to be wanting. And then as soon as I get to Pacifidlog Town, I talk to this man right here to get the TM for return. This I may end up teaching later, we'll see. And then on this route right here, there is a rare candy I can get, as well as Fisherman Ronald. In Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, he has 1 Magikarp and 5 Gyarados, but in this game he just has 3 Gyarados. I hated how they nerfed him, but he is still very good training. Once I finish my training in the water, I can fly back to Moss Deep City and go take on the 7th gym leaders, Tate and Liza. They only have 2 Pokemon, Solrock and Lunatone, and they're both level 45. I'm only level 48. It's very hard for me to overlevel because of the fluctuating growth rate. I start off by using a coil, and after I use the coil, my Zigzagoon faints, so now I send out my Wingull. My HM users aren't allowed to do anything, but I can use it as a free opportunity to get some free setup. Then on the second turn, I go ahead and use Crunch on the Solrock for the one-shot. This is the main benefit of Crunch, just having a super effective move for Tate and Liza. And if the Solrock is a one-shot, the Lunatone will be as well, and I'm correct. Yeah, Tate and Liza was easy. The random trainers have actually been harder than the gym leaders, which is something I expect in X and Y, but not Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. But hey, a win is still a win, you can't argue with results. Now I have to head into the seafloor cavern. I can actually get myself the TM for Earthquake here, which Seviper can learn. And I teach this move in the place of Dig. And now with this much more powerful ground type move, all future camera ups should not be a problem. So now we need to go take on Maxie one last time. And he does have Mega Camera Upped in this fight. He leads off with his Mightyena, which actually does not have Intimidate in this fight. It's like he randomizes abilities between fights. It's so weird. But anyway, I defeat the Mightyena as well as the Weezing. Next up is the Crobat. I go ahead and use Night Slash on it for the 2-shot and I get into red health. Now is the Camera Upped. Fortunately, Camera Upped is really slow, and then I can one-shot it with Earthquake. If this was Alpha Sapphire, this would be a lot more challenging because Sharpedo, especially Mega Sharpedo, is really freaking fast. I should do a run in Alpha Sapphire at some point, just to see the comparison in difficulty, because I do know Omega Ruby is the easier game, which is why I do it. And now with Groudon on the loose, we have to go ahead and defeat Primal Groudon in the Cave of Origin. I require myself to actually defeat the Groudon instead of like catching it with a Master Ball. 1, because I think it's fun, and 2, I want to save the Master Ball for catching the Rayquaza, because I'm forced to catch the Rayquaza in the post-game. So that's the reason I want to fight it. And it is a very challenging Pokemon. Basically, the one hope that most Pokemon have is that he has a 1 in 4 chance of using Rest, and if you can damage him and put him to sleep, you can end up just completely crushing him, but it can take several tries. And this does end up taking me 3 tries. I get to 4 resets overall. I'm finally able to get him to use Rest when I want him to, and when he's asleep, I'm able to defeat him with Earthquake. Alrighty, now let's go take on the 8th gym leader, Wallace. Wallace is a very pathetic gym leader though. I can start off by using a couple of coils. I get hit with Sweet Kiss, but I did think ahead of time and actually equip a Person Berry. And now that my attack is boosted, I can just use Poison Jab, my most powerful move with the same type attack bonus, just completely destroy his entire team. Even the Wish Cache can go down very easily. Maybe not with Poison Jab, I probably should have used Earthquake on it. I may have used it, I don't know, the game is going way too freaking fast for me to narrate this properly. But either way, complete one-shot sweep. Now we've got to go take on the Pokemon League. Before I do that though, I fly throughout the region and get pretty much every single rare candy I can. And since I've been teleported throughout the map a lot in the mid-game, all the rare candies that I would have collected in the originals by now, I have to fly around the region to get them, such as the rare candy in the desert route. Normally I get that on my way to Norman, but in this game I need to get it right before the league. But it doesn't really matter though, I get all the rare candies I need and enter Victory Road. I end up fighting this one optional trainer by mistake with a Sigilyph and Rhyperior, and the Rhyperior just completely and utterly destroys the hell out of me. So yep, there's another blackout. Next time I'm back in Victory Road, I do avoid the guy for real this time. But on the first mandatory trainer, the one with a single Frostlass, I end up getting a reset because I am not able to hit it with Night Slash. But fortunately, I only get one reset, and I am able to defeat her on the next try. Plus the mandatory double battle here, the Brawn and Brains trainers, with the Primeape and Musharna and a couple of other Pokemon, this is normally the most difficult battle in all of Victory Road, but fortunately I don't get a death, they just get too distracted with my HM users. And the Wally battle at the end of Victory Road goes completely easy once I set up enough coils. And now we are at the Pokemon League. I go ahead and heal up, buy some full restores, and before I take on the final 5 trainers, there is one rare candy I actually forgot to get. I have to swap the Acrobike for the Mach Bike, and then in the bottom floor of Granite Cave, I have to go up and down some slopes, and then I can get a rare candy. This rare candy is an absolute nightmare in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald because instead of going up and down slopes, you have to bike over cracked tiles. So yeah, that rare candy basically never exists to me because doing that on 1 time speed is a nightmare, let alone 4. But in Omega Ruby, it's a lot better. You do have to swap a bike for it, so you really have to debate if it's worth it, but I think for Seviper, it absolutely is. Plus, before I enter the league, I do teach the move Rest. This move will be very useful in making sure my HP remains high. Plus, I can just use Shed Skin to get rid of the sleep. Now let's go take on the final 5 trainers. Let's do this shit. The first member of the Elite Four is Sydney. I go ahead and use a coil on his Mightyena, and I do get hit with Swagger. I really should have equipped a Person Berry here, but oops. Anyway, fortunately I don't hit myself in confusion on it, and then next comes out the Shift Tree. I get flinched and I couldn't move because it hit me with Fake Out, but the confusion does end up wearing off, and I'm able to Poison Jab his entire team for the one-shot. I even outspeed his Sharpedo. Next up is the Ghost-type Elite Four member, Phoebe. Phoebe leads off with Dusclops. Substitute is basically impossible to get in these solo runs of Omega Ruby, so I am open to Curse at any time from this thing. The first thing I do though is actually a pretty clever strat that actually Kairi Sora came up with. I get 1 reset here because I forgot to teach the move, but if you're wondering what the move is, it's actually Taunt. Because with Taunt, the Dusclops can only use attacking moves, which means it cannot use Confuse Ray, but more importantly, it cannot use Curse. This is actually a very clever strat he came up with. Plus the TM for Taunt is in the Trick House. I did ask him where it was in the originals. He said it was in the Trick House, but it's not through the first trip. It's like the 5th or 6th trip through the Trick House. So getting it is probably not worth it in Ruby and Sapphire. But I mean, in Emerald version you get Substitute, so it's never worth it in that game. But in Ruby and Sapphire, if there is a Pokemon that struggles with Phoebe that bad, then it could be worth it. But here I still have to get a couple of resets because Phoebe is still sort of luck-based, but I do eventually make my way through her whole team. Next up is the Ice-type Elite Four member, Glacia. Glacia leads off with her Glalie. I start off by using a coil as she sets up the hail. Now I'm going to be taking chip damage each turn. Then the Glalie sets up Light Screen, which is going to be kinda useless for it. Then I can go ahead and use a +2 Poison Jab for the one-shot. Now for the Frostlass. These Frostlasses in the late game are the reason I held on to Night Slash. She also has a second Frostlash, which goes down just like the first. I get to level 56, the hail stops. Now we are on the Walrein. I go ahead and use Poison Jab, I poison it, and it actually ends up living. But here's the thing, I end up getting a higher roll on the next hit, I poison it, and she dies to the poison damage. Well, that counts as a one-shot in my book. Next up is the Dragon-type Elite Four member, Drake. Drake leads off with Altaria in this game. I start off by using some coils as Dragon Pulse doesn't really do that much damage. Although the Altaria does use Cotton Spore, which drastically raises its defense stat, so it's not going to be taking much damage, and I end up defeating it in red health. And then I use Poison Jab on the Flygon. Okay, this was a mistake. I have Rest on my moveset. I should have used Rest on the Altaria, and just hope that Shed Skin gets rid of my sleep. On the next attempt though, I do actually hold a Citrus Berry, which definitely comes in handy. But now, on the Altaria, it is doing so much damage to me with Dragon Pulse. What I'm basically doing is just spamming Rest over and over again, hoping to wake up right away because of Shed Skin, and then I can have as much HP as possible for the rest of Drake's Pokemon. And then once I get to his Flygon, I one-shot it with Night Slash, as well as the Salamence with Poison Jab. Then on the Flygon, I switch over to Night Slash, and last up is the Kingdra, I use Poison Jab. Alrighty, we are done with the Pokemon League. However though, we still have the champion Steven Stone. This is going to be what Earthquake is for. Let's move on with this. Here is something that actually makes Steven Stone sort of easy sometimes depending on the Pokemon you use. Even though his Skarmory has Toxic, Seviper is immune to Poison, obviously. And the Skarmory is straight up pathetic, plus Coil raises my defense stat, so it makes Steel Wing and Aerial Ace do effectively 0 damage. Plus I can then use Rest once I'm at +6, hopefully wake up as soon as possible so I have plenty of health for the rest of his team, and then I have to use Night Slash to knock out the Skarmory. And good thing is, in Gen 6 onwards, Steel does not resist Dark or Ghost, so Night Slash can hit his Steel types for neutral damage. Next up is the Aggron. I go ahead and use Earthquake, it has Sturdy, but then his own Earthquake leaves me at 69 HP. Nice. Then I try to use Earthquake on him and he switches out to Claydol. I really should have used Night Slash there, that would have been a clever little trick. But oh well, not a big deal, I one-shot the Claydol. Then the Aggron once it gets back out. Then on the Armaldo, I hit it with an Earthquake even though it's neutral. Then on the Cradily, I use another Earthquake for the one-shot. And now we are on Mega Metagross. Fortunately, Metagross's speed does not go up when it Mega Evolves the turn it Mega Evolves. So then I can one-shot with Earthquake and Steven Stone is defeated. However though, this is not the end of the Omega Ruby solo run. The run truly ends when we finish the Delta episode and defeat Zinnia. I don't want to bother going over the entire Delta episode because it's a lot of flying from place to place and defeating Team Magma Grunts and stuff like that, but I do want to skip ahead straight to the Wallace battle, because before you can climb Sky Pillar, you have to defeat Wallace with his Emerald Champion team, which is still a very neat Easter egg. I do end up struggling a little bit to the point where I have to use Rest on the Gyarados. But here's the thing, I do eventually set up all the coils I need, and then I can defeat his whole team. And now with Emerald Wallace defeated, we need to climb up Sky Pillar, catch the Rayquaza with a Master Ball. We need to take on Zinnia. Let's go ahead and finish this run. Zinnia has only 5 Pokemon though. Once the Rayquaza gets swapped out for the Zigzagoon and the Zigzagoon is defeated, I can then start the battle for real. On the Goodra, the plan is pretty simple. Just start setting up a bunch of coils. However though, Dragon Pulse is doing an exorbitant amount of damage, which actually really surprises me. I really need Rest and Shed Skin to come through for me, and on the first attempt it does not. I think I know what the problem is. I have to fly to Verdendorf town, which I've actually never been to. Like, I trained on the routes, but I've never actually been in the town. And then I need to go inside the contest hall here, talk to this girl right here, and get the TM for Attract. My Seviper is male, and all of Zinnia's Pokemon are female, so I am going to want Attract for this fight. Plus, I do go to the move relearner, and I relearned the move Crunch. This is going to be the far better move to spam on her entire team. Now let's go try Zinnia again. However though, even with Coil and Rest, this fight is still very luck dependent. I need everything to go my way, especially with Shed Skin coming in clutch. But it's a good thing Attract is helping me. And now once I'm set up, the Goodra goes down, the Tyrantrum goes down, the Altaria goes down, as well as the Noivern, which I surprisingly outspeed. And then on the Salamence, it hits me with Intimidate, but it doesn't matter though. Oh wait, it does matter. It ends up living in red health from Crunch because of the Intimidate, but that's fine. She just heals up, and then I'm able to knock her out. And now Zinnia is defeated, and I clock in with a real time of 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 45 seconds, with 13 resets and 7 blackouts at level 72, with a game time after the post-game credits of 9 hours and 38 minutes. This Pokemon, if given a second chance, would absolutely destroy this game. I think just me not saving before some hard fights definitely attributed it to this thing's not so good time. But if we take a look at the leaderboard though, however, it still ends up getting last place overall, even though this thing completed the game at a similar level to Sableye, and it got less resets overall, but it still ended up slower. The reason is, needing Coil as a setup move instead of something like Power Up Punch and Swords Dance, plus the fluctuating growth rate, really did add to this thing's run time. Plus honestly, the amount of blackouts too definitely did not help. I ended up doing a lot of backtracking to get things. Plus, Sableye and Mauville were still actually decently good. The problem was just their very low defensive stats. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this run. Tomorrow and Tuesday we'll be doing a Pokemon Omega Ruby solo run live on my YouTube channel with a random Pokemon. We'll use a random Pokemon generator to decide what we're playing. Then on Friday, we'll be doing the game with Mightyena. Anyway, I thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. And be sure to follow me on my socials or support me through YouTube memberships. YouTube members get access to these videos early and patch files to all the backports we've done on stream. Thank y'all for watching everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video.